Burgess and Bolton's weekly wrap-up.
Hello, Ben.
Hello, Jeremy. Happy Friday.
Yes, Friday indeed. And welcome, everybody, to this week's edition of Burgess and Bolton's weekly wrap-up, where we look at everything to do with the London market, technology change, innovation. This week, we're going to just give a bit of a recap on an event, a claims social event that you ran last night, Ben, which was great. And it had a really interesting kind of service approach, service culture. So we'll touch on that. But first up, as always, we've got a bit of news. And yeah, we both spotted that. I mean, it's been everywhere, but John Neal ditches Aon for top AIG role in surprise move. This is really surprising. I mean,
it is. It is, isn't it?
Keeps running and running.
It's one of those. I mean, it's a saga, isn't it? For sure, yeah. Because the whole leaving Lloyd's was a bit of a saga. Then the thing of Aon was a saga, and now this. You know, there's another twist in the tale. I think it's. Well, I bet there's more to it. I don't know why I think that. It just feels like, why would someone say they're going to work for Aon in a big role like that and then go for AIG? It's funny, isn't it?
It is. It is a strange one.
I guess, you know, when you've been CEO of Lloyd's, you do get offered a lot of things, and a lot of people would like to have you as a kind of figurehead person for various things. But it's not as if he's moving from some small, you know, it's not as if Aon was some small operation, is it?
No. No, not at all.
I think Aon's much bigger, I think, than AIG, I believe. Yeah. But anyway, and global, so, you know, kind of think, well,
yeah,
maybe you made a mistake and just meant to go to AIG instead of Aon.
Yeah, maybe it was a typo.
Could be.
Typo
3 letters. Yeah, Aon, easily done.
Yeah, could have been.
Yeah, easily done.
Easily done indeed. Anyway, we'll watch that, and it might become a regular feature. Where's John gone? It'd be like,
yes, where is he? Where's Wally?
Where's he gone to? Yeah. So we'll keep all over that. And bit of fun for Friday, everybody. Good. Let's move on. Let's move on and talk a bit about service. So, as I mentioned, top of the show, we were at the Dom on St Swithin's Lane, heart of the city, talking about well, it was a claims social, wasn't it? And so we had a claims angle, but the speaker from the foundation was actually coming out from a customer, you know, a customer client perspective, and how you become a customer-led organization. And it was fascinating.
Yeah. So it's a regular meetup we have of our claims clients in the market. So this was our summer do, and we're Grey Stretch is working with the foundation, which is a customer-led growth consultancy. Do a lot of work for lots of businesses, you know, very famous blue chips all around the world. And we're talking about this because we think that it's going to be very important for insurance to get this right. So Charlie Sim, who's the partner, was talking about really kind of rethinking, wasn't it? Really rethinking the whole kind of way you operate and work to be customer led, and saying how it's not easy to do. And particularly around claims, you know, whether you could make it more of a, you know, do something more with it, which we have been talking about a lot, you know. So I thought, yes, it was good, very interesting. I think the audience was pretty engaged with it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, he was talking about some quite challenging subjects. So how can you put yourself really in the seat of the customer or client in order to develop your proposition? And I think what I took away from it was that this is not a kind of a technical kind of operational, how do you deliver customer service? It's a strategic decision, and really important about where you position your organization, the proposition, and then all the operational stuff in order to deliver it. And we had some really good examples from retail that we could relate to, and then put it back into kind of the B2C world. So I thought that was really good. It really got you thinking about.
Yes, and they talk about which we do too, actually, in our research in the metrics, is really about people taking decisions, and he says that you have to look at the only thing that matters is people making decisions to choose you or not choose you. I mean, they may not choose anyone else, or they may choose a competitor, but ultimately people do make. So if you think about insurance, brokers placing risks, yes, there's a whole process to that. It's regulated and all the other stuff we know about, and there's systems and computers, but ultimately someone decides, I will show this company, this insurer, the risk, and try and potentially transfer it to them, which is where all of their revenue and profit comes from. And I think it's work certainly that we've done. He talked about saying that humans are not rational. They make funny decisions, and you don't know why they make those decisions. Sometimes we don't know why we make them ourselves. And I think that's also very interesting. We did some work, Grace Church, looking at ostensibly was called digital journeys, but also looking at how brokers actually place risks, and what they do. And we looked at kind of life in the day of stuff, and you realize, it was very counterintuitive as to where, although the process was very similar for all of them in their organizations, the decisions that individuals took were very different. So for example, some of the brokers were saying, look, I don't really need to socialize or get really deep relationships with underwriters. I just need a kind of Rolodex to know they're there and they're available, and I'm spending more of my time with clients. Whereas others said, oh, I think it's important to have really deeper relationships with underwriters, and they organize their week and their socializing and everything else to meet that. So there were really, really different approaches. And if you were an organization, I was, when we did that work, I thought you've really got to think about, where does your digital bit come in? Where does your outgoing sales approach work with your brokers and so on? And where does it fit with clients? So it's actually complicated stuff. Yeah. And culturally, I think, which you mentioned earlier on, I think it's difficult because often, Charlie didn't talk about this too much tonight, but they have talked about this a lot, is cultural resistance to change. And we know a lot about that. I think we've been, I've been talking a bit about there's a Harvard Business Review paper which has come out about how do you reskill people, and to get people on board with reskilling, which needs to happen in our industry. You've got to be, it's really quite difficult. You really got to be very kind of intentional about it and not frighten people, because kind of reskilling means losing jobs and things. So any of these kind of transformational things are tough. And I think that's probably just an important message for insurance, because it is going to have to transform over the next few years.
Yeah.
So whether you decide it's a customer-led approach or internal talent approach, you might decide different things, but to win, you've got to decide, you've probably got to have a strategy, good strategy.
Yeah. And I think we've talked about this in the past, that actually to have those kind of strategic conversations within organizations is really difficult when you're stretched just to kind of do the day to day. And certainly I think one of the aims of our events and conferences, and the event that you put on last night, Ben, is to provide a space where people can think a bit deeper about those strategic challenges, because the world is going to change, for all the reasons you've just mentioned, and there are some big challenges on the horizon. So I think now is the time for people to really think about that.
I agree, and I think we're quite a tactical industry, and we haven't had many examples of, wow, that's a really innovative, different approach. It's very traditional, and you look at other industries, and you can look at obviously the Amazons and things like that, and you can say, well, other sectors have had all sorts of, kind of quite major disruptive transformations where a business has decided on a different strategy and then kind of cleaned up. And we don't really, I know there's a kind of interdependency as well between all of our businesses in this B2B world of insurance, but it's still feel that I wonder if out there is potentially something. I know Lemonade has tried it and others are trying different models and things, but if a company could get it right in this market, I've got a feeling that there's a lot of growth for them and opportunity. And one area, of course, could be MGAs, for example, which some people will tout as the next big thing, not the insurers themselves. So, who's going to do it, I suppose, is my question.
Yeah.
I mean, a truly customer-led insurance business would be very interesting. It would, I hate to use the phrase game changer, but it would potentially do that, wouldn't it?
Yeah. I agree with that. I think it's going to be interesting when we run the London Market Claims Conference, like how many of those conversations move from that kind of tactical into the more strategic. Because I think let's take last year's keynote from Munich Re, where they were talking strategically about using claims for precisely the reasons we've been talking about. That is going to move the dial in terms of that decision making about whether or not they're going to spend money with your organization or not. And I think it'll be really interesting to go back and see how far we've come to actually, make that a reality. Because in the past, the investment has always tended to go to the underwriting side, and the claims function which
is an issue in itself. I think in a way you could say that almost the most commoditized part of the whole chain in insurance is the risk transfer itself, is the pricing of the risk, and that could very well become very automated very quickly. It and probably is. So the role of that kind of underwriter may well very naturally fall away and move into something that is quite different. The human won't be doing as much of the pricing. Arguably they don't do as much now because it's actuaries and pricing models.
Yeah.
So that, I think, is, brokers have always complained, there's way too many underwriters. But that could be a job that's a little bit under threat and a big change, really. And then you have to look at other things and say, well, what is this organization about? And some of the conversations last night actually were with large blue chips saying that we are on a journey now to become that customer focused organization. So there are organizations investing in that as we speak.
Yeah, definitely. I was listening to podcast, Private Idea, a really good podcast. It comes out every couple of weeks, and Helen Lewis is a journalist on there, and she was just talking about something else, but something that she said struck me, which is, the reason that AI, won't do a number of jobs is because it is mainly humans helping other humans with problems. And that fundamentally is still going to be the case. It'll be supported by technology and AI and stuff, but actually, that's we're still in that mode.
It's true, and I think if you think of all the examples, and you can go and read all the business books you like, but I think they're probably all mostly people type things. Amazon arguably not, although its customer service is supposed to be very, very good, and the couple of times I've used it it's very good, but things like Southern Airlines, there was a great case study of Southern Airlines, which did this whole moments of truth thing, which is a very famous case study of service. But of course, the technology was the airplanes and everything else, but they weren't getting it right because the service wasn't right. So they they really transformed that whole organization into thinking about what matters for a customer at all the points in their literal journey. And it worked a treat because they were fantastically successful based on that. And that's kind of back to Charlie's point, and I think the foundation says that I think they feel that it doesn't happen as much as it should, because they're trying to say that actually this is the route to profit and growth if you get it right. I don't know many execs in the insurance industry talk in that way, I must say.
Yeah. It's interesting. Yeah, we'll keep an eye on that. And I'm sure, I think for Data Jam, certainly it'd be great to kind of just explore that in a bit more detail, I think.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to be doing some work, so we'll get some projects and things that we can start to do with some insurers, and then we'll actually be doing it. So that'll be good.
Yeah, definitely. So a quick update. So last week I was talking about how I was using ChatGPT to source a valve for my pump, which is broken, and I couldn't find. And I was very triumphant.
Sorry, broken pump.
Yeah, I got a broken pump. Anyway, there we are. So the valves arrived and they don't fit. Mate. Anyway, they don't fit. So So I went back. This is like to build on a service conversation. So I went back to Bestway, which is the pump provider, and I rang them up, and their telephone recorded message. This is the first thing that you get is press 1 for sales or 2 for if you're having some problem. I thought, well, I'll do sales because I want to buy something. And they said, oh, we've got extremely long call times. You may want to go to the website. After about 6 other messages saying, go to the website, go to the website, go to the website. Yeah. And he said, your call will be answered as soon as possible, but your wait could be up to 60 minutes. I thought, what? So I left it 5. And then they had the every 30 seconds it goes, your call is important to us. Oh. I was going, no, it's not. It clearly isn't. So I got on the website, filled in the form, and say, oh, yeah, we will get back to you in 3 days with an answer. I was like, I want to buy something. It's like, it's ridiculous. Oh, anyway, I'll keep you updated on my pump replacement valve experience.
Yeah. God,
so, there we go. And talking to people not having a great day. Maybe you saw this, Ben, but a couple of execs at Astronomer, the CEO Andy Byron and Christian Kabut, Chief People Officer, were caught at Coldplay conference having an affair. And this is obviously, I don't really want to go into the personal things because it's a bit of a disaster personally for everyone involved. But from a company point of view, this is just really bad, isn't it? PR, whatever else. It's wow.
It's unbelievable. God, it's like, why did they not? I mean, that's my first thought is, why did they not think that that's what they do? Because they've been doing this at Coldplay concerts for a while, haven't they? Picking people out, the kind of kiss cam thing. Whatever. But oh dear, that is such a car crash in all respects. Yeah, for them personally, which is sad. But that's the way. I mean, you make your own bed, I suppose, and all that. But still. God.
I mean, and that LinkedIn. So we went onto LinkedIn, and of course, all the employees and everyone's on there, kind of doing that. And there was quite an interesting piece that said, I wonder how this is going to influence future investments and funding rounds, and coming back to our buyer decisions. You're looking at Astronomer, and you're kind of going, I don't want to go anywhere near that brand.
No.
If I'm buying it. So I was trying to remember back to kind of the last time this happened. Actually, the first time this happened. So 25 years ago, Ben, do you remember Norton Rose? there was an email
Yeah.
went round. It went viral. This is kind of first instance I remember where it's kind of sexual in nature, this email, and it was kind of forwarded round and it just went everywhere. I remember getting it like so many times from so many different places.
Yeah.
And like for ages, like Norton Rose were going, no, this is a scam and it's a hoax and don't work there. And anyway, then journalists got onto it, trying to track people down. And yeah, I mean, even if it was a hoax, it's so bad for the brand. It's,
yeah, it is.
And you can't control it. Once it's out, it's out.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a recent one, hasn't there, in the insurance market where I won't say the name of the syndicate, but the chief exec sent a kind of very kind of sort of unseemly, slightly sexual message around someone's leaving, regarding someone's leaving do, and it was kind of said it was out of character because he's quite a conservative chap, but it was in the Times, so there was a whole big article on it. And I mean, yeah, I mean, corporate behavior has had to change, hasn't it? And you know, humans are humans, but the consequences are pretty big now.
Yeah,
because it gets so widespread, isn't it? I mean, people don't even send emails around now. It's literally just on every channel of social media, isn't it?
Yeah. Of course, the most famous one is the kind of the Ratner, you know, when
Ratner moment, yeah,
the Ratner moment. That was obviously pre-internet. So that was a bit of a slower burn, but the same, you know, it all ends the same way.
Well, the multiplier effect on social media is absolutely huge once something gathers pace, and you know, we did something in this market on Hiscox, if you remember, which was whatever it was, 60 days through the COVID BI claims, and that was triggered. You know, things were triggered by certain words like Supreme Court and stuff like that, were causing people to then click on it more and more and more.
Yeah.
And it spins out of control
very quickly.
God knows how many they've had on there. That photo, it's just terrible.
It is. That is not going to go away ever. But there we are. So quick. Oh, Paolo has given us a bit of a heads up. So yeah, we'll be checking out that MGA that can use AI to manage their voice calls.
Interesting. It's interesting there because Paolo's talking about that. There was something I saw on Substack this morning about the Google service. There's an article I was going to bring out, but it was also about using what's it called, Google Assistant, I think, for service call stuff, and saying how amazing it was. Anyway, we should look into that because I think it is.
Yeah, we will. Yeah, we'll have a look at that. Very good. Okay. Short show this week. So what are you doing this weekend, Ben? Anything good?
Not really. No, I'm not doing a lot this weekend. I've been very busy. So and there was supposed to be people coming to see us, but now they're not. So therefore, I have a free weekend. A bit of garage clearing and all sorts of boring stuff like that. But that's fine. That's good. Sometimes, you know, life isn't always, you know, cocktails at the Savoy and that sort of thing. In fact, hardly ever is for me.
It's never been for me. But anyway, that's.
But we a glass of wine on the train last night together, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, I managed to spill it all over you. Sorry about that.
Oh yeah, let's just gloss over that. Fine.
Yeah, just forget it. And then we'll be battening down the hatches because there's a massive storm coming tonight. I don't know if I keep getting weather.
Storm. I'll be watching. We haven't done our Tour de France update, have we? But we should. That's very remiss of us, actually. But just to say, Pogačar was pretty amazing yesterday.
It was. I was watching that when I got back last night and thinking, crikey.
Yeah.
I really hope he's not on drugs because he was going so fast.
Incredible. Considering he'd crashed the day before, I mean, you know, that's amazing. I don't know if you must have crashed on a bike, and I have, and even if you're not broken anything, you feel very rough the next day.
Yeah, yeah.
It's agony.
Maybe.
And I'll be watching the golf at Royal Portrush.
Okay.
Because the British Open, which will be good, and the Storm might hit that too, so that should make it very interesting.
Good.
Yeah.
Big weekend of sport, actually.
It is a very big weekend of sport. Yes, there was the women's football, wasn't it, last night? I kind of listened to the end of that. But...
They couldn't seem to kick it in the goal. That's
great. I know, scraped through, a bit rubbish. They're kind of up and down, but they'll probably win the whole thing.
Yeah, probably. Let's hope so.
England men can't do. England men play all right and then don't win anything.
Yeah. Yeah, getting battling down. Alison, yeah. Congrats to the Lionesses. Absolutely.
Just did that, Alison. Yeah, it's very good. And as I say, just to reiterate, I think they might win it just because they seem to have that little bit of grit on their side.
Yes, which is important.
If they don't always turn out the performance, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's fantastic.
Good stuff. Right. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. We will be back next week. I think next week might be our final show until the summer.
Well, yes, we'll do a bit of holiday stuff next week, and then we're off to far-flung parts of the world, aren't we?
Yes, indeed. So thanks everyone for tuning in. We will see you next week for the end of year report, and enjoy the weekend, everyone.
Have a great weekend. Bye.